Hey everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Pokemon Productions. And today, I'm going to be doing another top 5 countdown. For those of you who don't know, the trailers for Gladiators Series 3 have officially dropped. And we've been told that there are going to be some new events on the way, including the return of an old favourite, Suspension Bridge. Now, that actually has inspired me further to do this video that I've been thinking about doing for a while. Today, I'm going to be talking about the top 5 Gladiators events that I would like to see return in the future. Now, obviously, this is just my personal opinion, and I can't include an event if it hasn't already come back. So obviously, I can't talk about Atlas Spheres, I can't talk about Jewel, I can't talk about Hang Tough, and I'm also not going to talk about Suspension Bridge because it has been confirmed that that event is going to be returning. So there's literally no point in me even mentioning it since it's already coming back. But anyway, I'll be covering events from both the original series from the 90s and also the 2008 series from Sky. So without further ado, let's get started. And at number 5 is Earthquake. Now, Earthquake is an exclusive event for the 2008 and 2009 series of Gladiators from Sky. What it basically comprises is Contender versus Gladiator on this platform that's raised above either some crash mats or a safety net, and it can tilt depending on where you're standing. And the aim of the game is simple: force your opponent off the platform. And you can use any methods you want. You can push them, you can pull them, you can wrestle with them and do that sort of thing, or even throw them off, that sort of thing. But no holding and nothing too extreme. So this game, I think, is very fun. It's quite a lot of fun, and I think it's a rather underrated event because I don't hear it talked about that much, and I would love it to come back because in the Sky series, quite a few gladiators proved themselves to be quite adept at this event. So for the men, we had people like Oblivion, Destroyer, and Goliath who dominated in that event. And for the women, Panther, Battle Axe, and Siren were among the many who dominated at Earthquake. So it makes me wonder who else among the current generation of Glads could be good on Earthquake. I think most of them would be pretty good. Like, big hitters for me would have to be like Giant, Bionic, Hammer, Diamond, Fury, and Cyclone. I just think it would be a good event to bring back. And obviously, this is obviously my opinion, so you guys may have your own opinion on Earthquake. There were some famous moments on Earthquake, like during the Legends episodes of the Sky reboot, where original Gladiators came back, where Wolf took on Oblivion, and then when Rebel took on Siren. But yeah, I know this event wasn't really that popular, but I think it'd be good to have it come back. And I have heard that it is going to be returning for the upcoming revival of American Gladiators on Prime Video, and I am wanting to check that out. So I'm looking forward to seeing a modern take on Earthquake. So yeah, I think in any future series of UK Gladiators, Earthquake would be a great game to bring back. So number 4 on the list is Danger Zone. Now this is a classic. It debuted in the very first episode of the original series, and it basically comprises of a contender having to run from one station to the next, and they have different weapons you can use, like a crossbow, a bazooka, a mortar, and a rocket launcher. And what they're aiming to do is hit a target which is situated above the gladiator, and if they do manage to hit it, they'll receive 10 points. However, if they miss with all of them, then they can just go through a Perspex tube and hit a lower target for 5 points. But a gladiator will be firing down upon them with a tennis ball cannon, and if they manage to hit the contender, then the contender will only receive 1 point for every weapon fired up until that point. I think it's a very cool event, and I absolutely love it whenever I watch it. I always have a good time. It could be good for any of the gladiators, really, and apparently it's also good for those gladiators who suffered injuries. For example, in the first series, Warrior suffered an injury in a game of Atlas Spheres, so he was basically confined to just Danger Zone. So if Danger Zone was there, in like both of the last two series of Gladiators, Comet, Saber, Nitro, and Giant could have played that game. They could have still been able to take part in Danger Zone if it was there. So I think Danger Zone is a great idea for an event to bring back. I honestly do, because it's so fun, and you've got to be quick as well. And we have had some really fast contenders over the years, like Chung from Series 1 or Mus from Series 2. I think either one of them would be great in Danger Zone. I honestly do. So I'd love that game to be brought back. Number 3 on my list is another event that is considered an absolute classic, and that is Pyramid. It's where both contenders play, and they have to reach the summit of a pyramid. And there are 2 gladiators in the way trying to take them down. First, the top 10 points. Second, 5. If they haven't reached it, nothing. It's quite a frantic event, Pyramid, and it is iconic among the gladiators. But unfortunately, it is also a bit dangerous as well, because quite a few contenders and quite a few gladiators have received injuries on Pyramid, which is honestly very unfortunate, because it does look like fun, but at the same time, the tackles they give and the heights they fall from, I can see why the potential for injury is there. It famously happened to Jet during one of the live shows, and it also happened to Gladiator Rhino during the second series of International Gladiators. But I think with more safety measures, they could feasibly bring Pyramid back. I mean, the Sky reboot actually managed to bring back Pyramid, and as far as I'm aware, nobody was injured. As far as I'm aware, I could be wrong, but as far as I'm aware, nobody was injured on the Sky version of Pyramid. But above all else, I think Pyramid is a very cool event. I really enjoy it, and I would love to see a 2020s modern day iteration of Pyramid. Number 2 is another one-on-one event, and one that I really don't hear that much about, Whiplash. Now, it's one-on-one, contender versus gladiator, and the piece of equipment used is this thing called a dog bone. And all the contenders have to do is either use the dog bone to pull the gladiator out of a circle, or wrest the dog bone from them. And in the original series, quite a few gladiators made Whiplash their event, like Warrior, Rhino, and Rio. And I reckon there's quite a few gladiators in the current series that could potentially be good at this event. Like the Man Mountains that are giant and bionic would be perfect for Whiplash. And even Cyclone, who is pretty much an immovable object on Jewel, she would be hard to move in Whiplash as well. So obviously, Whiplash is such a fun event. I say the events are fun a lot, and that's because they are. So basically, I think Whiplash would be a great idea for a returning event in a possible future series of the UK Gladiators. And I think it is set for a return in the American Gladiators revival. And I think when Australia did a revival in like last year, I think they brought it back. So it'd be good to see Whiplash again. It really would. And let's go to some quick honourable mentions before I get to my number 1. The first of which being Sumo Ball, which is very similar to Whiplash in a way, except you have to push this 70-kilogram ball to force the gladiator off the platform. So it's not a pulling game, it's a pushing game. And I think it's a very good idea, but I'm not sure how I would feel about it being brought back. Another honourable mention would be Swing Shot, where 2 contenders jump down from platforms on bungee cords and try to jump up to this pole suspended from the ceiling to grab different coloured balls to score different points while the gladiators block them. I love the event, and I'm aware, and I do know that it's considered an absolute classic, but I wouldn't call it one of my personal favourites. So I personally wouldn't be that bothered if Swing Shot didn't return. Although it would be nice to see it return. 2 dishonourable mentions as well. Dogfight, where it's contender versus gladiator in airships, whacking each other with combat clubs. Nothing really special. It's honestly quite a boring event, if I'm honest. But I did enjoy it a lot more than Catapult, where 2 contenders bounce up and down on bungee cords, grabbing balls from a container above them and throwing them into these massive goals situated behind the gladiators. It was quite a slow event, if I'm honest. So I would personally leave Dogfight and Catapult out of the roster if for returning events. And my number one returning event that I would like to see come back in a future series of Gladiators is Pendulum. Now, Pendulum is absolutely amazing. Situated high above the arena floor, you're on this massive ball covered in a netting, and your aim as the contender is basically to avoid the gladiator trying to get the tag on your back by just climbing around it while it's swinging from side to side. And you just have to last there for a full minute. That's all you have to do. This is actually, it's quite a tense game, if I'm honest, Pendulum. It's basically hide and seek meets the Gladiators, because you just don't know where the gladiator is going to be. The gladiator doesn't know where the contender is going to be. And it's resulted in some very iconic moments, like when the original Siren managed to hold on to the pendulum with just her foot, which was incredible. But yeah, all the events are fantastic, and out of all the events that haven't returned yet, I would love to see any of them return, apart from Catapult and Dogfight. But Pendulum is a must. Pendulum is the absolute number one event that I would love to see return in a future series of Gladiators. And so those are my top 5 Gladiators events I would love to see return in the future. What did you guys think of my list? Did you agree with any of my picks? What events would you like to see return? And are you excited for the return of Suspension Bridge? Please let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you next time for the last video of 2025, which will of course be my Christmas special on Christmas Eve. Can't wait for that, but until then, see you next time.